talked about it a little bit post-game, and of course we'll leave Barch's words to his interview. But I thought Edgar played a fast, aggressive, an active game. He was not only active offensively, but he was in the right spots defensively that allowed him to really pick up pucks, find himself in the right areas, and he really put himself in a lot of spots to be really successful tonight. But not just Edgar, it was a great team victory tonight for the Niagara IceDogs. A nice regroup of sorts following a tough loss on Friday to the Brampton Steelheads, and it was a similar start to this game, and I think I was a little bit concerned on that front. If you go back to the Brampton game, if you take a look, it was a slow start for the IceDogs. They got outshot in the first period, and tonight it was a similar story. An IceDogs team maybe still a little bit, they're starting to work out some of those difficulties. They're starting to understand how each other play. The chemistry might still be something that needs to be developed, but I thought it was a slow start, and as the game progressed, as the line combinations started to cement, as everybody kind of got into the game, over the boards, and into the play, we really saw this Niagara IceDogs team put together a fantastic performance. What an afternoon here it was at the Meridian Centre. A ton of fun. Bones was out here banging the drum. 3,600 people here tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, and just a ton of fun at the Meridian Centre, and you can't ask for a better way to start the season on home ice. A big-time 5-1 victory, your 10th overall selection in the most recent draft, goes off for a 3-goal performance, had an apple in there as well. Keeping the doctor away is Ryerson Edgar, and he had 4 points today. Some notable mentions, Vladislav Yermolenko had a fantastic performance as well. He wanted the shutout, he was close. Power play for the Sudbury Wolves later in that third period brought that shutout hope and dream to a close. But I thought his game was fantastic nevertheless. He was active in the crease and really living up to some of those expectations that we had for him in the preseason and in the training camp when he wasn't even here yet. We were already talking about just his ability. So I thought it was a great game. Not only up front, Ryerson Edgar played well. The depth offensively, which we'll talk a little bit about later in the episode, I thought they played well as well. And then on the back end, defensively, a couple of things maybe you want to work on. Again, we're still wrinkled dry cleaning here. It's night number 1 at the Meridian Centre. There's lots of stuff to figure out, lots of time to figure all of it out. But I think it was a great start for the Niagara IceDogs.
No, it was, and again, when you have your home opener coming off a tough loss in your first game on the road, it can be daunting to come in with the task and trying to bounce back, but they did a very solid job tonight. We're going to get into everything with the game stats, the scoring summary, and again, post-game reaction from inside the room. But we'll get things started here with our prep list tonight, brought to you by J&L Flooring. If you think you get a better deal anywhere else, you don't know jack. Check them out at jnlflooring.com to visit their Niagara Falls location, being your next quality flooring project today. As far as the lineup goes, Christian, obviously still missing the 3 players away at NHL camps. We talked about this on our season preview show, that's the luxury that Niagara has, is that they have some very top-end players that are away at NHL camps. So no Ethan Zada, no Kevin He, no Riley Patterson. Brady Wasslin still day-to-day with an ailment. So 4 of your top 5 forwards out, technically, if you want to call them that. And the IceDogs kind of had to roll with the lines a little bit differently. They went with 11 forwards with 7 defensemen. Quickly go through it. Ryan Robrick up front with Hayden Reed and Ryerson Edgar on that top line. The second line was Race Smith along with Ivan Galianov and Sean Doherty. The third line was Cole Cooksey, Jacob Monks, and Alexander Hage. And then you had Judd Noft and Matthew Spaeth, I think, is what we're going.
Matteau Spaeth.
Spaeth is
it's a tough one.
Spaeth is what we're going with. So apologies to him for the first few weeks. But then on the D core, you had the Niagara natives together on the D pair of Grayson Tiller and Callum Shanowski, along with newcomer. Well, sort of. He's back with Artem Frolov in that trade earlier this week with the Flint Firebirds alongside Ben Riesnecker, the Czechian import. And then the third pair was Sebastian Delauche and Andrew Wysick, along with Liam Spencer, the new acquisition from the London Knights as a 7th defenseman, with Yermolenko, as you mentioned, starting. Backup Matthew Humphreys. So again, despite the guys that they were missing in the lineup tonight, it looked like after getting the first game jitters out and all these guys still trying to learn that cohesion together, tonight's lineup went out and came out with a lot better effort all around.
Yeah, and I think it's something that Krys Barch is going to love is the resiliency that they showed here this afternoon. The first 8 minutes of this game, I'm sitting up here thinking, oh boy, like here we go again. It's going to be a Brampton flashback, and they didn't have the legs. The breakout was struggling a little bit, and I think there's a lot of things that could have been better in that first 8 minutes. And then as the game started to progress, the ice started to open up, and then into the second period, there was a 4-minute power play for the Niagara IceDogs, a double minor assessed to the Sudbury Wolves, and that's where things really started to shift in Niagara's way. It was 2 power play goals, one from Sean Doherty, the other right on the doorstep. Cole Cooksey finds his first in the OHL, and both of those goals completely sucked all the air out of the Sudbury Wolves. There was really no way for them to get back into this game. They were leading in the shot department after the first period, and then in the second period and the third, they were outshot by a margin of 30-21 across the last 2 periods. Just they weren't able to grab control of this game following the special teams. And Krys Barch highlighted it a little bit, that special teams is such an important part of this game. And at this level, when you put good players on the ice in opportunities to score on the power play or to take goals away on the penalty kill, it's really important that they go out there and do that. And I think on the special teams here this afternoon, the IceDogs capitalized.
Yeah, they did, and we're going to get into our scoring summary in just a little bit, along with our game stats. But that trade earlier this week, bringing Artem Frolov back to the Niagara IceDogs after a year in Flint. They had to wait because the 13-month rule hadn't come in yet, so that's why they had to wait those extra few days to be able to get Hayden Reed and Artem Frolov back. They went over in Flint, if you remember, in that big 3-way trade with Barrie last season as well, that saw Tristan Bertucci go to Barrie, and it saw Jack Browdy and Blair Scott come here to Niagara with Frolov, Reed, and others going to the Flint Firebirds. So first debut back, and it's the first time all 5 of these guys are on well, I guess Ethan Zada's still not back, but all 5 of the IceDogs' first 5 picks from the 2023 OHL draft are going to be playing on the roster, which is pretty incredible to think about, with Frolov being a second-round pick and Reed being a third-round pick and an NCAA commit, so he hadn't signed with Niagara back in that time. So when you add him with Robrick, Zada, and Galyanov, it's going to be fun to see those 5 players coming together.
Yeah, and for Artem Frolov, it's even more of a homecoming in a way. Ivan Galyanov and Frolov played together in minor hockey with the Vaughan Kings, so there's a lot of familiarity here.
Very good friends.
Like, very good friends, and that's obviously going to translate to the ice. And the pieces are coming, right? The pieces are coming. You see it. It's every day with this squad. You know, you see kind of the draft picks coming out. The Riley Patterson's coming in. The Liam Spencer's coming in. You see now the Frolovs and the Reeds of the world coming in. And then the guys come back from the NHL training camps, and all of a sudden, we're looking pretty good. And I think in a couple weeks' time, you can expect to see this Niagara IceDogs team up at the top of the standings in the Eastern Conference. But definitely a strong performance here on home ice. I think obviously the special teams played a factor, but even in 5-on-5 action, I think the defensive core was strong. And it was 7 different guys dressing tonight. An interesting mix, and I think that's to be expected here in the early going of the season. It's not surprising that you see John Jutsi and head coach Krys Barch experimenting with their defensemen at this stage. There's still a lot of uncertainty with the overager situation. Andrew Wysick on the back end. Blake Barnes also on the back end. He didn't play tonight. There's so many defensemen. Riesnecker, you got Tiller, now you got Liam Spencer. Like, there's so many defensemen on this team that are capable of logging OHL minutes, and I think it's about kind of figuring out who's going to play when, against which teams, in which situations, who are the power play guys, who can really excel, moving the puck. I think Frolov is a great addition in that sense. Ben Riesnecker, I thought, had a great game tonight, played defensively sound. He was clearing the front of the goal, really sticking up for his goaltender today. There was plenty of scenarios where that was definitely an occurrence, but I think for this afternoon, my key takeaways were there's still uncertainty on the back end. the defensive core is still being manipulated. There's questions there. John Jutsi alongside Luke Israel and Krys Barch are going to iron out some of those wrinkles. But up front, offensively, I think things are really starting to click.
And Riley Patterson's on his way back to Niagara, so that's a good thing that he will be back with the team for next week's game. So having that Vancouver Canucks prospect, right shot, forward up top, going to add another element, and just excited to see how all of them come together when they're all back with this team. But yeah, as you mentioned, the Blake Barnes and Darcy DeWatcher as extra defensemen tonight, even starting with 7 defensemen. So they've got 3 extra defensemen when they're able to dress 12 forwards. So it's going to be interesting to see how they roll through those lines and things like that. But we'll get going further with our scoring summary tonight. And that is brought to you with our game stats first. First game for me as well. Got to get back in the rhythm here. But our game stats tonight, Sudbury Wolves, 32 shots, Niagara 37. Niagara was outshot in the first period, but then outshot Sudbury in the last 2 periods. The power play stats isn't going to tell the whole story, as you'll hear from head coach Krys Barch in a little bit. Niagara 2 for 7 on the power play, but 2 big goals. They were 2 for 3 at the time to go up 3-0 on Sudbury. They were also 4 for 5 on the penalty kill as well, with that very late goal by Sudbury breaking Ermolenko's shutout with a minute 16 left. Face-offs 30-29 in favor of the Sudbury Wolves. So looking at the box score there, Christian, is there anything that fans should know that really, just didn't show up on as far as the shots, the power play, face-offs, anything when they look at the box score won't tell the whole story?
I think the shots are definitely a little bit misconceiving. I think Niagara definitely had a stronger performance than a 5-shot margin. They definitely carried the offensive play later into this one. I think in the second and the third period, there was almost a full press from the Niagara IceDogs, and Sudbury just caught on their heels, couldn't really respond. But for me, the big one would be Vladislav Yermolenko giving up just the 1 goal as the second star tonight. I think the statistics in his favor, maybe not telling the whole story. He was phenomenal here this afternoon at the Meridian Centre, and I think the shots from Sudbury, say 32, I would say maybe 8, 9, potentially 10 high danger scoring chances in those 32 stats. And I think for him, just a big time win and a big time almost shutout, a huge presence for a team that's kind of still struggling to find that number 1 goaltender this year. The guys playing in front of him now know that's what he can do. That's what we can expect. And I think for him, regardless of what the box score says and from the statistics sides of things, I think he had a fantastic night. But taking a look at, some of your other goal scorers, Sean Doherty gets on the score sheet tonight. That's an interesting one. But we'll talk about that in a little bit as we get into the statistics. And I guess staying with just the numbers for now, we'll take a look at kind of the scoring breakdown. Sudbury still had a dominant period, but they didn't score in the first period. And that's all Vladislav Yermolenko in period number 1. But for Niagara, they get the first in that first period, 2 in the second, and 2 in the third. Sudbury responds with a late goal to break the ice, and the rest is history. The IceDogs take one 5-1.
The face-offs, Hayden Reed was 11 of 21 on the dot. Ivan Gallianov, 9 of 21. Jacob Monks, 5 of 9. And then Mateau Spaeth was 4 of 6 on the face-off dot tonight for the IceDogs, and a couple of big ones that led to them being so successful on the penalty kill. 4 for 5 for the IceDogs tonight. We'll get forward with our scoring summary tonight, brought to you by the Niagara Employment Help Center, helping people find work in Niagara since 1983. Check out their up-to-date job board at ehc.on.ca to find your next work opportunity today. Ryerson Edgar, rookie, open the scoring, Christian. 15-11 into the first period. Can't storybook a home opener, to start your OHL career any better than Ryerson Edgar did. But the first goal, and it was interesting because Krys Barch, it was right after a timeout, TV timeout, I believe. He was talking to Ryerson Edgar at the bench, coaching him through a few things, maybe showing him something here and there. And the immediate face-off after, he scores that goal in the offensive zone.
Yeah, and it was such a smart play from Ryerson Edgar, and this is something that I really love about his game. He brings a certain positional maturity that you don't see from a lot of 16-year-olds. That first goal, and even the second, and to some degrees his third and hat-trick goal, was all based on just where he was on the ice. He found himself in a great spot. That puck bounces up in and around where the ringette line would be, top of the circle. He jumps on it and puts it top right where Mama would hide the cookies. Just a great play from a player who was in the right spot, taking his man on the defensive side. He wasn't thinking about offense. This was a puck below the goal line, fought on by some teammates. Sudbury was looking to gain possession below their goal line, and he was hovering. Just hovering, but also had his guy defensively. So there's a certain responsibility on that first goal that makes it a little bit more special for me. It's not just the fact that he scored, but he's also showing the defensive capability. He's showing that he's also going to be responsible 200 feet away from his own net, and he got rewarded for it.
He did, and then the 2 goals in the second period, the IceDogs took a 1-0 lead into that second period, and it was 2 power play goals. The Wolves took a double minor, so it was a 4-minute power play for the IceDogs, and they scored 2 goals in just under a minute. First was Sean Doherty taking the pass from Hayden Reed and firing it from the right circle there. A really nice give and go there, and again, a power play unit that is very much, just kind of thrown together right now because you're missing Zotto, Waslin, Patterson. So Sean Doherty not usually on the number 1 power play unit, and they struggled on Friday night going 0 for 7 up there in Brampton. But coming back here with that first goal by Doherty, and then Cole Cooksey getting his first career OHL goal as an overager coming over from the BCHL. It was able to just kind of bank that one off of their goaltender in Sudbury, and sometimes you get those bounces to go your way. And in Niagara's case, they scored 2 quick goals there and 2 big momentum shifts that could have turned from a 1-1 game to now it's 3-0.
Huge shift. And for me, it's 2 shifts that create that huge shift, and it was in tight. Is where those shifts were created. The puck was in and around the goal, and Niagara does this thing where, especially this afternoon, and against Brampton, they did a similar thing. They collapse on the power play, and it was a 5-on-3 for Sean Doherty's goal, a 5-on-4 when Cole Cooksey found the back of the net, but they really like to bring in their players closer to the blue ice, create that pressure, have that goaltender moving back and forth. Don't give him an opportunity to see a direct shot. And both of those goals were cross-crease plays. The one that bounced for Cooksey came from the near side at the bottom of the circle, and it was a bouncing puck out to center. Lucky, like a gift, he unwrapped it right out front. And there you go. Cole Cooksey gets his first in the OHL. And then, of course, the goal right before it, moments earlier, Reed makes a fantastic play across the center of the ice. So similar goals and similar strategies, and we'll look to see if that's something we can expect more of this year from a power play unit that, like you said, Krys Barch kind of patching things together, throwing out different combinations as he tries to figure out, what kind of players he wants to have on this unit. But I think it was a bunch of guys out there that didn't really know each other's strong suits, but just worked hard, put the pucks in the right spots, and bounces will go your way, and they did, as the IceDogs scored 2 there on the power play.
And they had to take advantage of the Sudbury team that doesn't really know what's going on with their goaltending right now. They had Carson Chartier in the net, but they've got 4 goalies on the roster right now, and again, they were able to get him off his game a little bit with those 2 quick goals and kind of shell-shock the Sudbury Wolves here. Coming in on a Sunday afternoon on the road is not an easy travel for them. So for the IceDogs to have that juice in that 3-0 lead going into the third period, and hopefully you were in your seat if you were here at the game, because if you weren't, you missed Ryerson Edgar's second goal. 6 seconds into the third period, the Sudbury Wolves try to go D to D at the blue line, and number 17 just picks their pocket, goes right in, and scores on a breakaway to begin the third period. What a read and what a play by the IceDogs' 16-year-old first-round rookie.
Again, the positioning and being ready to play as soon as that puck dropped in that third period is what allowed him to score that goal. It'd be very easy for a 16-year-old to coast into period number 3 of a game like this. So I already got my first. That's whatever. I'll just, I'll log the rest of these minutes, go home to mom and dad, put that puck up on the mantle. No, he started the third period, cut that pass, walked in, and put away number 2 in the same spot, mind you. And I think that's another thing that I noticed about Edgar. After he scored that first one, he almost made a mental note. You know what? That worked. I found some space in the top right of the goal, and he went right back to it. And not to take anything away from Chartier, to your point, and to David Bowen's point, had a great conversation with the radio play-by-play voice of the Sudbury Wolves pregame, talking a little bit about their goaltending struggles right now. But for Edgar, just a smart play. Finds the puck at the blue line, skates in, had some results earlier with the similar shot, goes right back to it and finds his second of the night and second of his OHL career. And to Krys Barch's point, we'll hear his interview here in a little bit, talks about the RPM. Getting started as soon as the puck dropped is a really undervalued skill in hockey, being ready to play. And he was absolutely on his horse with his boots strapped up at the beginning of that third, and he was able to cut that pass. And not only having his feet moving, but in the right direction. He was putting himself in a spot, again, like that first goal, where he could pick off that pass. If he's 3 feet to the left, or 5 feet to the right, or 3 steps backwards, he's not picking up that puck. And he's not firing that goal into the top right corner. So for me, it's the positioning, it's the work ethic, it's being ready to start on time, and Krys Barch is going to love all of those attributes from his 16-year-old.
And at the 10-11 mark of the third period, Ryerson Edgar caps off, a historic first game at home for the Niagara IceDogs, and is able to get that hat trick. Walk us through it, Christian.
Yeah, that one was just disgusting. Like everything about that goal, he grabs the puck. It was a late change, so I was actually watching him as he came over the boards. He joins a line that's not actually his. Krys Barch just throws him out there, and I think it was to see if he could go out there and grab that hat trick goal. And the coaches will do this in a game like tonight, leading 4-0. Give the kid a chance. He hops over the boards, finds himself at center ice, and all of a sudden, the puck's on his stick. He takes a look up ice, and what does he see? 2 defenders. All right, let's get the feet going. He crosses the blue line, taps it through one, taps it back to himself to the right, and slides it straight through the 5-hole. He touched the puck a total of 3 times after he crossed the blue line. One was through the stick, the second time was to the forehand, the third time was to the back of the net, and just like that, Ryerson Edgar had his hat-trick goal on an incredible individual play.
And Matos Spaeth gets his first career OHL point on the goal as well. Another import player for the IceDogs, playing on the fourth line tonight, but did have some key plays in this game, including that play to Ryerson Edgar, capping it off with the hat trick. To note on that, Edgar sets a new IceDogs record. Scoring just 6 seconds into the third period to set a new record for the fastest goal to start a period, and went on to finish with the hat trick. The old mark was 8 seconds into a period, set by Zach Lavoie in December 28th, 2022. So Ryerson Edgar, already in his first home game, setting records for the IceDogs, which is pretty impressive considering the last little bit of alumni that they've had as rookies, and all-time a lot of great players there. So late in the game there, Chase Coughlin with a minute 16 left is able to break the shutout for Vladislav Yermolenko. You really wanted them to get it there, but the puck just kind of was... He was kind of scrambling around, and things sort of found Chase Coughlin, I think, there in the slot, and he was able to kind of just shovel that one in. And it's just unfortunate because he was so close to it, but, I think he'll get rewarded at some point with his first career shutout.
That one, for me, comes down to discipline. It was a power play goal for the Sudbury Wolves. You have to play for your goaltender in those kinds of situations. If you're getting down to the wire and there's 5 to 8 minutes left in a game and your goaltender has a shutout, the last thing you need to be doing is taking a penalty.
When you're up 5-0.
Exactly. You're already up 5-0. Just chip the puck in. You chip and chase. You get it in deep. It's shift after shift. You grind them down. You wear them out. And you play a defensive style of hockey. And what the Niagara IceDogs did is they allowed I was about to say the Windsor Spitfires. I don't know. I'm thinking about Ethan Belchitz, I guess. That's not for a couple more weeks. We'll talk about them in a bit. But they allowed the Sudbury Wolves to regain some momentum. They had 30 to 40 seconds of continuous offensive zone time. They're moving the puck back and forth. A couple of shots came in. And mind you, something that some of our viewers may not have seen and will not be able to know from, this box score. He made 3 or 4 incredible stops on that PK for the Niagara IceDogs. So that goal for me is a throwaway one. Throw it away in a closet, close the door, and forget about it. It really doesn't mean anything. For me, that's more on the players in front of him than him in between the pipes himself. I thought he played incredible. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes the other team has to score. Nothing you can do about it. They go to the power play, and they find a late marker.
And especially as a smaller goaltender, he was really solid going left to right, and you talking about his positioning and not maybe that game in Brampton he went down a few times a little bit early. You can tell that he made those adjustments, and maybe it was something goaltending coach Ryan Ludzik showed him, in the scout afterwards, going through the game film, that he really made those adjustments.
Yeah, and I think there's still a couple more adjustments to be made to his game. I think he brings a lot of comfortability in and around his net when the puck is dumped in and he wants to play it. He's shown an aptitude for playing the puck and wanting to kickstart breakouts. However, he does do something that is interesting and that I've never seen before. So a lot of goalies, when they leave the puck in behind the goal, they'll leave it there and then they'll skate in back around and take their position in between the pipes. What Yarmolenko does is he pushes it ahead and places his backside up against the glass and the boards and lets his players skate in front of him. Now, that's something that I'm sure Ryan Ludzik and company will have a conversation with him about. There was a couple of instances in which he had to scramble back into the crease. Well, I think it was the first period, and it was a part of Sudbury's kind of onslaught in that first 8 minutes. There was a situation where he played the puck up the left side of the boards and had to basically dive to stop the puck from going into the empty net. And I think for me, that would be my only critique of his performance tonight, is maybe just understanding that this game's a little bit faster. And coming from, the ranks that he did in Belarus, it's a different game. We understand that. It's going to take him some time. Obviously, the guy's probably still jet lagged. But, there's a lot to like about his game. For me, that would be the only thing, is just understanding that when that puck leaves your stick, it's potentially coming right back at you a lot faster, and he has to find ways to get back to his crease.
Definitely an active goaltender there behind the net, and we'll see how he continues to adjust to that North American style. Good first game at home for Vladislav Yarmolenko, getting used to the environment here at the Meridian Centre. We're going to have more post-game reaction. Head coach Krys Barch and Ryerson Edgar after his hat trick. So stay right here. We're right back on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs, right after this commercial break. We'll stay with us.
In the Niagara region, Global Pet Foods is your destination for premium pet nutrition and caring expertise. Whether you've welcomed a new furry family member or need advice on top quality nutrition, their dedicated staff is ready to help. Discover why Global Pet Foods' lesser-known premium brands outshine the big corporate names. Their team's passion ensures your pet's health and vitality. Check out one of their locations today: 3643 Portage Road in Niagara Falls, 160 Highway 20 in Font Hill, or 400 Scott Street in St. Catharines. Global Pet Foods, where premium brands and caring staff make the difference.
Wild Bill's Auto Repair is your local center for auto maintenance and repair in the Niagara region. Since 2012, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop has been helping customers stay safe and confident on the road, knowing their vehicles in top running condition through their services. Located at 7868 Oakwood Drive in Niagara Falls, the garage started as a tribute to the owner's father, William Robert Hunter, who passed away, continuing the same community spirit and high level of service which customers came to expect from him back at Hunter's Auto Repair. Their multi-award-winning auto shop has earned the trust of the Niagara community with its fair treatment of all customers, who can feel confident they'll get the trustworthy advice and repairs during their visit. Their experienced crew loves meeting new people and looks forward to forming a lasting partnership for the care of your cars. To find out more or to book service, contact them today, 905-358-7868 or wildbillsauto.ca. Wild Bill's Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road since 2012.
Are you currently looking for work in the Niagara region? If so, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thorold Stone Road in Niagara Falls. Their many free services include a fully staffed resource area open to the public, resume and cover letter writing, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment, training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, and Better Jobs Ontario information and registration assistance. Check out their website at ehc.on.ca or call 905-358-0021 for more information. The Niagara Employment Help Center, helping people find work since 1983.
This Employment Ontario program is funded by the Government of Ontario.
Since 1999, Niagara Denture Clinic has been helping thousands of patients achieve natural-looking smiles with the confidence to show them off. Sean Battelle and his wife Anne, both licensed denturists, bring a wealth of skill and experience to the warm and friendly atmosphere to their Niagara Falls location at 5501 Drummond Road. And their on-site Niagara Hearing Clinic offers free hearing tests and a variety of services to fit your needs. This family-run practice takes pride in providing superior care and service to their patients, along with the best premium products available on the market. Get the best work done at a more reasonable price. Niagara Dental Clinic is here to help. Protect your teeth with a mouth guard, replace missing teeth, and get better hold with your dental implants. Call them today for a free consultation at 905-353-1552 or check them out online at niagaradentureclinic.com. Niagara Denture Clinic, creating natural smiles in the Niagara region for 25 years.
Hey, this is Ryan Strom.
This is Carter Verhage.
This is Brendan Perlini.
This is Phil Tomasino.
You're listening to the Dog Pound Podcast,
the official podcast of the Niagara IceDogs.
Welcome back to part 2 of today's Dog Pound Podcast game recap right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Thank you to those that are tuned in live on our Armchair GM Sports Network YouTube channel and those listening the next day on your favorite on-demand audio platform. Please give us some love on whatever platform you're choosing to listen to us today. Make sure to also give us a follow on X at Dog Pound Podcast. Stay up to date with all of our IceDogs coverage, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok by searching the Armchair GM Sports Network. The Dog Pound Podcast is proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family, and their 3 great Niagara region locations in Fonthill, Niagara Falls, and Scott Street in St. Catharines. Brandon Caputo and Christian Simmons are back with you, continuing to break down the IceDogs 5-1 victory, OHL opening week, and their home opener here on the Sunday afternoon at the Meridian Centre in front of 3,562 IceDog fans here for the Central Division matchup. Christian, before we get to IceDogs head coach Krys Barch with his post-game thoughts and rookie Ryerson Edgar after his hat trick, you look at it, the IceDogs are going to be going on the road for a little while. They got 2 road trips coming up with the Flint and Saginaw trip, and then as well the Windsor-Sarnia trip. So 2 long road trips, and getting that first win at home under their belt, giving them some confidence. Now going on the road for a little bit. I think it's a good thing for this group to get to know each other a little bit and to have a couple of early road trips that you don't have to do in February when it's snowing out. So that's also a good thing, is these 2 road trips, getting them out of the way with these Western Conference opponents, and we'll see what they are when they come back here.
Yeah, it comes at a perfect time for a team that, again, like we've talked about many times on this show, is still coming together. The chemistry is still up in the air. There's a lot of stuff to figure out. But it's going to be great for the boys to get into those hotels, go out to those restaurants in different cities and different landscapes than they really would be adopting here at home, and get comfortable with one another. But I do think it's important that they came back here at home, got this victory before they go out on the road, because then all of a sudden you're stuck in a spot where we're winless in our first 3 games, and now we're in Sarnia on a Sunday, and it's just things can start to really stack on top of one another. And I think it's really great that they were here at home, got it done. Edgar gets his 4 points right off his back here early in this season, and they do it in front of their home fans. They do it in a place that they're going to be a lot, they're going to be here a lot more this season, and I think it really allows them to kind of slide into those souls a little bit and start to get comfortable here. Really start to feel it out. What's it like to play here for some of the new guys?
Right.
What does it sound like to play here? I mean, I was shocked. I don't know. They got 78 different sound haptics that they play in arena during the games. You got the chants, you got the goal horn, the goal song, the lights changing. There's a lot of stuff to kind of really get under your belt, and I think it was a good experience for not just, Ryerson Edgar and some of the rookies, but also some of the returning players to just kind of get back into the swing of things, and they did that with a big-time victory here. But yeah, for the road trips, definitely going to be nice to kind of get those over with. Put them to the side, hopefully pick up a few wins, but the main idea is let's bond as a team. Let's come together on the roads, enjoy the bus rides, enjoy the nights in the hotel, and stay out of trouble and win some hockey games.
Yeah, and get to know each other on and off the ice is going to be important for this group. Their next home game isn't until October 5th. Another home matchup in the division against the Barrie Colts. We'll be looking forward to that one for our next post-game show. Let's get to IceDogs head coach Krys Barch with his post-game thoughts following his first victory as an Ontario Hockey League coach.
Got your first win as a coach, man. Just how does that feel for you?
Well, it's nice not seeing 0 for your point total. So in terms of for the group, they've invested a lot over the last 3 weeks. A lot of firsts. We had Krys get his first, Edgar get his first hat trick, Yarmolenko with his first win. Our coaching staff, first experience of a win, and Frank as well. So there's a lot of firsts here, but again, it's hit the ground on Tuesday and give the group a well-deserved day off, and we start investing again come next week. So.
Anytime you want to give up one goal towards the end of the game, you're going to have a good game. What did you like about what you saw?
Team effort. I think layers coming back, tracking, reloading, the want to block shots, want to get in shooting lanes, everybody making the right choices.
Yeah, and you're missing all those guys, and I know you can't use them, but it isn't a factor. How important is it to have a team game when you're missing all those guys that can score?
You know what? I think even if they're here or not, I think you have to have everybody pulling in the same direction. So if they're back, if they're not, in terms of next weekend, we have the same effort, the same mindset.
Sure. You mentioned Edgar. Wow, what a nice effort for him. What do you see in him as a rookie coming in with? It's a big jump to come up.
You know what? He does a great job moving his feet. I think a lot of his impact was, his ability to those RPMs we call it, revolutions per minute, or different. He showed it on the ice, and again was rewarded. In this game here, nothing's going to come to you. He created a lot on his own. Created a lot with his feet, and again, pucks end up in the net. So I think it's a great lesson for everyone and all of our players that continue moving your feet, working, having that mindset and foundation. You're going to be rewarded.
Sure. And one other thing, your goaltender almost had a shutout there.
Yeah.
He looked so calm in there. How happy are you for him? Because he did not look like a guy who just got here a couple days.
Yeah, I think over 23-hour flight coming from overseas. Wow. And when I was a development coach, that time zone change takes a little bit to get used to. So it was nice for him to kind of get adapted, and then again, a great effort. I always come back to the work component. He was fantastic, and again, the work. So.
You were saying it's nice not to see a 0. But it would have been nice for him to get the shutout, considering he had it so late.
Yeah.
And when did the team start rooting for him? Because obviously you don't say the S word.
No, you're not allowed to say that. I always say this. There's no painting that's perfect. So I think the effort is the big thing for him. The 2 points for the team is a big thing for him. So I think you can't control that last element. We'll go over video and correct maybe the group that should be doing. But for him, I think he's just happy for the group.
So certainly nice, great rebound from Friday night.
Yeah.
What was the message after that game?
You move on. I always say you learn more through challenge, failure than you do success. So we went back to the drawing board. Again, you watch video, you put the work into practice. You refine your systems, you refine your own skills in terms of players and coaches, and prepare for tonight. And again, no different than this. We'll move on from this. It was a success. And we'll look back and look at the things we need to improve and start approaching the preparation for next weekend.
Okay, thanks. The power play stats aren't going to show the whole story, Coach, because at the time you scored 2
timely goals there to go 2 for 3 on the power play to go up 3-0. Just how important was that 4-minute power play for you to get those 2 goals and really, go up by 3 goals there as a momentum swing in the game?
Yeah, I think special teams are huge. If you can win the special teams battle, I think you're putting yourself in a great situation to achieve success. And our PK's been clipping along at a real good rate, and we made some adjustments on the power play, so it was nice to see the group there.
Frolov and Reed coming back in, not an easy thing after being with another team for all of training camp and then coming in here, starting their first game on Friday and then coming back home. How did you think those 2 players were? Obviously, Frolov played for the IceDogs, Reed drafted by the IceDogs. A little bit of a reunion for those guys.
Yeah, I think this week's been a little bit of information overload for them. So, but again, Frolov did a great job. With puck possession, puck management, puck execution, and Reed brings a great speed, work, character, compete element to us. He's a workhorse.
And then on Cole Cooks, he looked like the first couple of shifts was trying to get a little bit adjusted to the speed and the level of this game coming over from the BCHL. How do you think he got as the game went on, got that lucky bounce for his first goal, and then taking some momentum from that as he continues to learn how it's like to play at this level?
He keeps scoring. So again, if your pucks are going in the net, you're probably doing something right. So again, he's got great speed, competes all over the ice, plays a 200-foot game, and again, you're rewarded when you do great things.
And then last question, you've got a few long road trips coming up the next 2 weeks. How good is that for a group that has a lot of new players and still trying to get to know each other, the camaraderie and learning each other off the ice? How do you think that it's important to have a couple long road trips start the year?
Yeah, it'd be good to spend some quality time in buses and hotels, and I'm sure a couple of roommates will be tired of each other by the end of the road trips, but it's all.
Thanks, Coach.
There was IceDogs head coach Krys Barch on the Wild Bills Auto Repair postgame. Brought to you by Wild Bills Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road in Niagara since 2012. Christian, a lot of good thoughts there from the IceDogs head coach, getting his first win. A lot of firsts for a lot of people here. Management as well. Frankie Vola's first win as a general manager for the team. Ryerson Edgar, first career hat trick. Yermolenko, first career win in the net. For him, first career win as an OHL head coach, his assistants as well. Very strong effort all around, and it looked like he was pretty happy with the effort all around.
Yeah, and for me, the one thing that I keep coming back to is the culture that he instills here in Niagara. The idea that this is a team, and it's not just on the ice, it's behind the bench, it's up in the press box, it's with our general manager, right down to our equipment managers. This is a team, and everybody's going to buy in. And I think that culture for me, that identity that he brings to Niagara is exactly why I think this team is going to be successful. And this afternoon, there was a display of talent that really showed that message is being relayed to his players. You take a look at some of the guys that stepped up tonight. It wasn't just top players. Ryerson Edgar, of course, had the 4 points. He looked spectacular tonight. The goaltender was also impressive. But you look at the depth guys. You got Judd Naft, had a fantastic game tonight. I thought he was active. He was all over the ice, had great speed. Jacob Monks played strong defensively as well. Doherty steps up and scores a big goal. And then Cole Cooksey, of course, scores an even bigger goal and puts this game almost out of reach in that second period. But that, for me, from head coach Krys Barch, is what I love to hear. This is a team, everybody doing the right things and making the right choices is exactly the words he chose. And I think if the IceDogs can continue to make those right decisions and buy in as a team, all the way from the top to the bottom, from guy number 1 to number 18, right down the roster, and maybe a couple of those guys in between the pipes as well. If they can keep buying in, keep playing that team game, and really accept that identity and culture that this is a family. We're going to win and we're going to lose together. And I think tonight they showed a really strong and together effort.
And especially Ryan Robrick didn't need to carry the team. Only 1 assist tonight, and again, a guy that has so much draft hype coming into the season. They're not just going to rely on him to carry them places. Like they need the contributions up and down the lineup, especially when it's next man up, when you're missing 4 of your top 6 forwards technically right now away at camps, and Wassland as well. So everybody's chipping in right now, especially tonight, and that was big.
Yep, and you know what? He may not have showed up on the score sheet, but what Robrick did do tonight that you won't see in the box score is really help some of those guys around the ice in different situations. On the power play, he was chattering a lot, even before the puck is dropped. Here's where you need to be. We're going to win the faceoff here. We're going to go there. He's bringing a lot of leadership presence, and regardless of whether or not he gets on the score sheet, he's showing a little bit of a maturity here in his game in the early going, and I think that's what I liked from Ryan Robrick tonight. Had a couple of opportunities as the trigger man, as Steve Clark would say on the power play, had a couple of shots that were blocked, and he was dangerous and tight, just couldn't really find a way to put those eggs in the basket per se, but he was still very much a part of this team. And again, it goes back to that team message and that team identity. He didn't care. He was the first one with a beeline to that puck to pick it up for Ryerson Edgar. He was the first one to give Cole Cooksey that overhand high five. He was the first one to be in there and representing those guys in those situations. It's not about him. It's not about the numbers and the stats and the draft. It's about right here, right now, and Ryan Robrick showed a willingness to be a team player tonight, and I love to see that from him.
No, absolutely. He was a contributor in many different ways, not just in goals and assists, and Krys Barch talks about how important those things are. And quickly, 23-hour flight for Vladislav Yermolenko getting here, the time change. He really praised his goaltender as well. So all things to mention with that. But we've talked a lot about him. Let's get to our player of the game tonight. Well, I guess he's the player of the game as well. But our IceDogs player interview tonight brought to you by the Niagara Denture Clinic, creating natural smiles in Niagara for over 25 years. Here's Ryerson Edgar following his hat-trick performance tonight in his first game in front of his home crowd.
Scored your first goal, and you topped it off with a hat trick. How exciting is that to do that? It's a dream come true, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. It's something I dreamed of forever, and just really excited. Just can't beat it, really.
Absolutely, yeah. And you did it in a win. How good was it to get on home ice, get a win in front of your fans here, first game of the season, right?
I think it was the most important thing after last game, not starting off the season. So great getting the win tonight was really big for our group moving forward. We're really excited.
Absolutely, yeah. And what are some of the challenges you face coming up to junior A after playing minor hockey?
I think the transition from minor hockey was tough. It still is tough, but just the game's faster. You got to think a little quicker, a lot quicker. It's just a little transition.
Yeah, you're up there with a couple of decent players. How much does it really good players act? How much does that help you?
Oh, it's so important. I mean, playing with those two, really lucky opportunity for myself, and I hope they didn't mind.
Yeah, sure they did. As far as the pucks, did you get all three of them?
I did.
Oh yeah. Now, where are they going to go? Are they going to go to somebody special, or
I think I might send them home. I have my first OJ goal there too. So
Okay. What did you see on the second goal there, Ryerson? Because they're going D to D there on the pass, and then you're able to split them and then go in for the breakaway. Just how when the sea parted for you there, what were you thinking?
I was thinking I had to get the shot off quick. The other team was on me fast, and I was excited that I saw the puck open up, and a really good opportunity for me, and I'm just glad I finished off.
What did you think of Yermolenko? Hasn't been here for a full week, just got off the plane last week, and you guys almost got him to help him get the shutout there. I'm sure you guys were really trying to keep the goose egg for him, but what do you think of the Belarusian back there in net?
He was amazing. I can't say enough good things. He kept us in at the beginning, and we really wanted it, and then now it was all.
I saw right before you scored your first goal, it looked like Coach was really talking to you there on the bench, just trying to maybe lock you in on a certain couple of details, and then you score right on the next shift. So, one, was there something that he said specific that he's trying to help you through, and two, just how much is that helping you try to transition and have that coaching from a guy like Krys Barch?
Yeah, it's been amazing so far for the transition. I've been struggling with confidence a little bit, and he's really been helping me get through that. And just what he's giving me a little inspirational talk, and after that, I kind of felt a little better. So I was able to go up there and score.
Do you have any?
There was Ryerson Edgar on the postgame, the Niagara Denture Clinic player postgame. He said he was pretty excited. You couldn't really hear it in his voice. He's not a guy that gets too high, too low, Christian, but definitely an exciting game for Ryerson Edgar, and talking about Krys Barch being able to help him with his confidence at times and certain assignments that he's learning as a 16-year-old on-the-job experience here at the Ontario Hockey League level. But what did you think from what the young man had to say?
May not be the most excited to answer questions, but he was definitely excited. And man, was he ever when that first one went in the back of the net for him. And I think What really catches my eye and my ears, really perks them up for sure, is when he talks about not having confidence and he plays the way that he does already. And if he's still working through some of those things like any young player is in the OHL, it's going to take some time to really develop your game and understand what works and what doesn't. Obviously, for a player like Ryerson Edgar, everything works in minor hockey. Like, you skate up the ice and have no problems finding your spots and finding areas to create offense. But at this level, it's a little bit different. And for him to still be concerned about the maturity of his game and the confidence of his game, for me, is really exciting. And I think it should be exciting for fans as well, that guy that just scored 3 goals and an assist and basically lit the Meridian Centre on fire this afternoon is not 100% confident in how he's playing just yet, and that means he's got a whole lot more to bring. There's a whole lot more he wants to bring. He sees himself contributing in a more consistent and game changing way. He wants to be more dynamic, and maybe he's just not there yet, but he has a vision for that kind of play, and that's really exciting for Dog Country.
And his parents going to be happy to put goals 1, 2, and 3 on the shelf from the same night. I'm sure that's going to be one that he'll look back on excited as what's for a promising young career for Ryerson Edgar that's just getting going. Before we get out of here, we'll put Christian on the spot with our stick tap of the game, brought to you by Butt Ends. Hockey stick grips specifically for the top of the stick, designed to replace traditional cloth tape. Check them out at buttends.com and use our referral code discount/armchairgm to get 10% off your first order as part of our community. Butt Ends, the number 1 grip in hockey. Christian, I don't think you're going off on a limb tonight with your player of the game in this one.
No, I'm not. Yep, it was Krys Barch. No, 100% Ryerson Edgar. And I think it's not just about the stats. Yeah, he was impressive. Yeah, he scored a hat trick. Yeah, he had an assist. He had a 4-point night. All of that stuff is fantastic. But for me, it's all the rest of the stuff. He was responsible in the defensive zone. He was moving his feet. Krys Barch talked about it. He had his RPMs. He was moving and finding the puck in those areas to be successful. He was a strong teammate tonight. He played a 200-foot game. And for a young player that's, maybe chasing, those first accolades, a guy that, just kind of wants to get the monkey off his back here in the early going, wants to get that first goal. He didn't play like he was desperately hunting it. It came to him. He let the game come to him. And for such a young player, that's rare to see and really exciting. But I think his game all over the ice tonight was fantastic. He handled himself well after scoring the first goal. He came out in the second period after scoring his first OHL career goal and wasn't satisfied. He made an exceptional defensive play, put it right back upstairs for goal number 2, and then with an incredible individual effort scored his third on a 3-touch beautiful shot through the 5-hole. And I think all around, just a very impressive performance from Ryerson Edgar, and exciting to see what he's going to bring here next weekend on the road trip. And then when we come back in October, I can't wait to be hopefully saying his name once again when we do this post game and I get to give my stick tap. But I think for sure, for me, all the taps go to Ryerson Edgar. Vladislav Yermolenko was also solid in between the pipes, so I would say if I could split it and go 50-50, I would probably pick both of those young men.
Ryerson Edgar, 3 goals, 1 assist, a +3. Great fantasy stat line for him at his first home game. Quick honorable mentions for me. Artem Frolov, I thought, looked good in his return to Niagara. Looked like he had a little bit of an extra jump to his game. Was the power play quarterback tonight. Made a couple of nice plays as well. Was also defensively sound after maybe one time he got caught in that first period. But other than that, thought he was doing a solid job. And then Grayson Tiller and Callum Shanowski logging those tough minutes on the number 1 D pair. 2 Niagara natives, 2 friends that are now D partners together. You could tell the communication is there between them. Played together for a long time before going through many battles in the OHL. But the IceDogs number 1 D core, number 1 D pair, really, despite Shanowski a couple penalties, but regardless, I thought they logged those tough minutes on the first pair.
They did, and I think for a defensive core that, again, has so many different ways to go, getting a guy like Hayden Reed is only going to help. Mm-hmm. You just add a little more offense. You add a little bit more mobility to a defensive core that already has a little bit of that. You know, you got sorry, Frolov. I apologize.
They're both former.
I'm getting it mixed up. There's so many new faces here in Niagara. I can't even keep them straight in my head. But Frolov on the back end just has that mobility, right? And him playing alongside guys like Ben Riesnecker and Grayson Tiller and Liam Spencer, those guys that, you know, can really shut it down on the back end. He's going to be fantastic, you know, up front. And I think he was great. Like you said, just there's a lot of stuff to like. I think Del Elche had a good game as well. Somebody that maybe flew under the radar here this afternoon. And all the defensive players here for Niagara, even on the offensive side of things, the bottom six was great. The top six was great. The goaltending was great. There's a lot of great things happening here in Niagara. The crowd was great. The call was great. We're back, and everything's great here in Niagara. But I really liked this afternoon's performance right across the board. Really impressive. Ryerson Edgar, of course, at the top. The bottom six contributes. Cole Cooksey gets on the board with his first, and a little bit of help. Sean Doherty helps him out there on that power play as well, as we get two big second period goals. And then in between the pipes, Vladislav Yermolenko with an pretty impressive first victory in the OHL. So right across the board, lots of like for the Niagara IceDogs.
A lot of momentum to carry into those next 2 weeks on the road after bouncing back from their opener in Brampton with a 5-1 victory here in their home opener at the Meridian Centre at downtown St. Catharines. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in to our live postgame on the YouTube version and those listening the next day on your favorite on-demand audio platform. The IceDogs take it over their Central Division rival Sudbury Wolves by a 5-1 score. Ryerson Edgar, big performance, 3 goals, 1 assist in front of 3,562 here at the Meridian Centre tonight. Again, the Dog Pound Podcast is proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family in our 3 great Niagara region locations. Make sure to give us a follow on X at Dog Pound Podcast to stay up to date with all of our coverage going forward this season. Thank you to everybody that's back with us for another great season, year number 6 on this podcast, and looking forward to more game recaps with Christian and myself all season long. So that's it. The IceDogs win this one 5-1. At home in their home opener over the Sudbury Wolves. For Christian Simmons, my name is Brandon Caputo. Have a good rest of your Sunday, and we'll talk to you again very soon.